So is this screen visible to you?
Yes.
Okay. So now today is the second day of SPSS master class preparatory session. Today's agenda is first we will decide on how to do the sampling, then data cleaning, coding, recoding, transformations in SPSS and using syntaxes in SPSS. So first now coming to the sampling part. See, there are two types of sampling. One is probability sampling and another one is non-probability sampling. Let me tell you with the help of this MS Word. I hope you are aware of this sampling procedures or not.
Sir, I am aware of the sampling procedure. But if you will tell again also, it's good, sir, because I can revise it. If any mistake I have, then I can just to make it clear from your teaching, sir.
Okay. But you might be knowing it theoretically, practically how to do it. That I think there is a issue in that.
Yes, sir. Practically, I do not have a complete idea, sir.
So
Theoretically, I have idea.
so this is the probability. There is on one side we have the probability sampling, and on the one side we have the non-probability sampling. Can you tell me the difference between these two? What is probability? Are you there?
Yes, yes, sir. There was missing. Sound was missing. Yes. Hello. Hello.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir.
So can you tell me the difference between probability sampling and non-probability sampling?
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
When there is when we consider uh,
Yes, please.
basically when sampling technique is taken by any researcher from a large population.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, yes,
Hello.
yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Hello.
I think there.
Hello. Hello. Sir.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir. There is some signal problem, sir.
Now it's okay, I think.
Yes, yes. Now it's okay. Sir, mostly in probability, non-probability sampling, there is a basic difference. What I understood is there is no random selection is there in non-probability sampling. We cannot take random selection.
So, so the very basic thing in non-probability sampling is that in probability sampling, what happens that each and every individual has equal chances to get selected in the sample.
Yes.
In probability sampling, because there is concept of randomization.
Yes.
In non-probability sampling, there is no equal chances. Okay.
Yes.
And the very first situation, see, the very first condition for doing a probability sampling is that sample characteristic is known.
Sir, the voice is not clear. Sir, there is some problem. I
Sample
think.
characteristic. Hello.
Sir, I think the voice is not clear.
I have connected to a different connection.
Yeah, now it's okay, but sometimes the voice is completely going out.
It may be due to fluctuation in speed. So, in probability sampling, what is happening that the characteristic of the population is known to you. Okay.
Okay.
I'm typing it here. Is the screen visible?
Yes, the screen is visible. It is better, sir. I can go through the screen, sir. No problem.
Can you please check your speed also? Hello.
Sir, I think my internet is okay because I have already cross-checked. It's okay, sir.
Even I have checked my previously it was problem, so I have switched to different connection and now it's showing okay. Let me check. Right now, am I audible or not?
Yes, yes. You are audible, sir.
Okay, so in between, so in probability sampling, the sample characteristic is known. Okay, you know who are your
Okay.
samples, what is their characteristic. Okay,
Yes. Okay.
and in non-probability sampling, characteristic of population is not known. Second thing is you have a sample frame. And in non-probability sampling, you don't have the sample frame. You understand what is the sample frame is?
Yeah, exactly. What structure we are taking from where the pool of sample will be drawn, we should structureize it. So that
You
particular.
have the entire you have the entire list actually.
Yes.
So let's say if I want to do my motive is effect of extra class on student performance. So in that case, I can take this. Let's take the example of your university. You take the
Okay.
list of all the student that will serve you as a sample frame.
Okay.
You take the list and that will serve as a sample frame. Since you know the characteristic of the population, then you can have a sample frame. In non-probability sampling, you don't know the characteristic of the population. First, you ask them a question. Suppose if you don't know that whether a particular person is a student or not, so you will ask one qualifier question that are you a student? If they say yes, then they are included in your sample. Else, they will be out of your sample, right?
Yes.
So in non-probability sampling, you don't have a sample frame. Characteristic of population is not known, and you have to draw the sample from this sample frame only in case of probability sampling. So maximum, see, every researcher should try to go for probability sampling. If in case if you are unable to get this sample frame or make this sample frame, then only you should go for non-probability sampling. And the biggest problem with the non-probability sampling
Okay.
is that you cannot generalize the result of your sample on the entire population. So
Okay.
whatever the results you are getting from your population, from your sample, you cannot say the same characteristic is applicable to the entire population. In case of
Okay.
non-probability sampling, you can only say that okay, this is the limitation that all my findings are restricted only to the people whom I have taken in my sample. Whereas in probability sampling, you can generalize the entire results. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now we have simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, cluster sampling, systematic sampling. Here we have the very famous conve- convenience sampling, judgmental sampling, then we have this snowball
Quota.
sampling, snowball sampling, and then quota
Quota.
sampling. Quota sampling. I hope you are aware of the theoretical concepts of all these.
Yeah, theoretical concept I know, sir.
So no need to discuss that. I'll be coming only to this simple random sampling because that will be applied. The method is the same across stratified cluster and all. The methodology is same. Only thing is that here you will take the entire population or the entire sample frame. Here you will divide your sample frame into strata. Here you will divide it into clusters having homogeneous properties, and then here you will do systematic sampling. Means first one, then 10th one, then 12th one, 20th one, right? Like that. Okay. Ah.
Okay.
So what happens in a probability sampling that since you have a sample frame, so you cannot decide on the sample size by your own. It cannot be that you say that I have taken this much sample. It has to be based on different formulas. We have we have different
Okay.
formulas for sample size estimation. So in case of probability sampling, so there is a sampling by this proportion sampling by ratio method, sampling by standard errors. These are the methods. I hope I have shared one article pertaining to that in the group. I hope
Yeah.
you got it.
Yes, qualitative research, sir.
No, no.
Qualitative research.
Sample size distributions. Deciding on the sample size, I have circulated that in the group.
No, sir.
Okay,
No, sir. I have not
I'll
received.
send you personally. Okay, after this session is over.
Okay, sir.
That
Okay,
entire
sir.
article is only about how to take the sample size,
Okay.
and there should always be a justification of your sample size. So, what I am saying that you need not to go for the entire methods. There is one very famous method given by Yamane in 1967, and this is known as Yamne's law of sample size estimation, and it's practiced and accepted worldwide. Remember, this is the case of probability sampling that I am discussing. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so that formula says that n is equal to, sorry, it's small n is equal to n by 1 plus n e e square. Please note down this formula.
Yes, yes, sir. Sir, I'm noting it, sir.
This is called Yamane's formula. So here small n is your sample size and capital N is your population size and E is your error estimate. That is, suppose if you are taking 95% confidence interval, so your error estimate will come out to be 0.05. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay, sir.
Okay. Now coming to non-probability sampling. In this, the sample size should be in the ratio of item to subjects, and it should be 1:10. So suppose if you have, and minimum sample size is 300, right?
Okay.
Suppose if you are going for non-probability sampling, so minimum sample size is 300, and it has to be taken like number of items in your questionnaire is to number of people or samples. Subjects means respondents. Let's say if your questionnaire is having 20 items, so what would be your sample size?
200,
But minimum size should be
300.
so
So
at
actually, minimum I have to take 300, whatever may be the lowest number.
so the lowest should be 300, and the formula adopted is 1 is to 10.
10.
Let's say if your item is having 40 questions, what should be your sample size?
400.
400.
Yeah.
Why I'm saying so? If you have read the concept of exploratory factor analysis or factor analysis, there is one test that you do, or whenever you will do, you will come across this KMO test.
Sir, what is the basis? KMO test is the basis.
Yes, when you do exploratory factor analysis, you do a test known as KMO test. It's called Kaiser Meyer Holkin test. Sample adequacy. Okay.
Okay.
And this states that at least your sample size should be 10 times of your total items. So to satisfy this Kaiser-Meyer-Olkin test of sample adequacy, I am saying that item to subject should be 1 is to 10, minimum size should be 300. That is the case of non-probability sampling. Okay?
Okay.
In probability sampling, there are different formulas. I will share with you the paper, but this you need not to go for this is all in one formula. N is equal to n by 1 plus ne square. Okay,
Okay.
let's take an example.
Okay.
Let's say my sample frame is consisting of 300 people. So that is my population size.
Yes. Capital N is equal to 300.
Because my sample frame is 300, so my population will be 300, na?
Yes.
So on the 300, what would be your sample size? Can you please calculate it?
Yes, sir.
Please calculate.
300 divided by 1 plus 300 into E. Sir, here error will be how much? I can take 95%?
0.05, na?
Yeah.
95% is the confidence interval. That if you put it into numbers, it will be 0.05.
Okay. 95%. Okay. Suppose I am taking 99%, that means it is 0.01.
0.01, yes.
Okay. Okay.
So take it at 0.05, because in social science research you take it as 0.05.
Okay.
Because 5% chance of error is there. In scientific studies, we take it at 99 and 1%.
Okay. Sorry.
So what is the answer?
500. 40.
If you have a calculator, you can use.
I do not have calculator. I am calculating in Excel sheet, sir.
You have your mobile phone, huh?
Yeah, I have my mobile phone.
No, you use the calculator in your mobile phone.
Oh my God. Sir, there may be internet problem because the power has gone, sir.
But I can hear you.
Okay, sir. Sir, 1 minute. I'm just changing the. Yeah.
You simply use your mobile phone, calculate and tell me.
Yeah, yes, sir.
See, I can tell you the answer directly, but I have some motive behind doing this, making you to calculate. Let me see whether my hypothesis is correct or not.
Okay, sir. I am doing it because I have not downloaded that. It is not also uploaded. Let me do, sir. I'll do it on online also.
It's a very basic mathematical expression. Don't you think it's taking more time? Hello? Don't you
Hello.
think? Hello?
Hello. Yes, sir. I am unable to write the 0.05 square actually in that calculator. I am unable to write.
So you can multiply 0.05 into 0.05, no? If you are unable to write, you can multiply 0.05 into 0.05.
Yeah. 100. Into 0.05. Zero 5 into 0.05. It will be whole exponential now. Sir, it is 300.75.
I knew that many people will do it
Hello.
wrong. I knew that many people will do it wrong, and even you have done it wrong. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
That's why I asked you to do it on your own. I knew that you will be doing it wrong. Many people do it wrong. Let's see what would be the answer. 300 divided by 1 plus 300
Yeah.
into 0.0025, isn't it?
Yes. 0.0025. Yes.
So as per the rule of BODMAS, if you have studied mathematics in high school, first you
Yeah.
do see bracket opening of division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. First you will do multiplication, then addition.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it has to be 300 by 1 plus 300 into 0.025 is equal to
3. That will be 3 multiplied by 25. 75.
300 into 0.0025.
Yeah.
What would be the answer?
Sir, 0.075. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So your final sample size will be 171, not 300. You told me 300 something. If you have the total population of 300, how come it can be more than 300? Right?
Yeah.
So this way you have to calculate. So 171. Out of these 300, you have to choose 171 randomly. Okay?
Okay.
Now you have one option that you make the uh, sheet of 300 people, put it in a box. That's why it's called a lottery method. You write the names of these 300 people or the roll numbers of these 300 people on a piece of paper, put those checks in a box and pick 171 randomly. But is it
Okay.
possible? Is it possible?
Uh,
It will be very time. It
no,
will
sir. It is one.
be. Hmm?
No, sir. If I will do 300's name and out of which 171 I will take. If the size is 171, I can choose it. But if it will be larger size, it is not possible.
Even 300 will take a lot of time, making 300 kits and
Yeah.
choosing 171, right?
Sir.
Suppose if your population size is 1000, 10,000, like that, then what you will do?
Yeah.
You can't do it. That's where software comes for your help. So let's see how we can do it in Excel and as well as in SPSS, right?
Sir.
Okay. So now you have might be having this data set. Uh, Let me check what was that data set. Do you have this data set?
Yes. Yes, sir.
These roll numbers. Sample data set 2.xls.
Yes. Just 1 minute.
Have you opened this?
Yeah, I am opening, sir. Yes, sir. I have opened, sir.
So we have 361 people. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What would be my sample size in this case?
Sir, just 1 minute. It's not opening. Sir, there is some problem in data. It's not opening, sir.
Open it.
Sample data.
Sample data 2.
Yes, sir. Sample data 2. Yeah.
It consists of roll number of 361 students. So this is your total population size. What is your sample size in this case?
Then, sir, total number of population 361. Sir, capital N will be 361.
Mhm.
Yeah, that will be 361. So it will be maximum 361. 360. Sir, 361 divided by 1 plus 361. If I will take the
Into
confidence
point,
interval,
into point 0025.
yes, into 0.0025.
So first you will multiply 361 into
Into
0.0025,
yes,
then
sir.
add 1 to it,
Yeah,
and then divide 361 by that number. So what would be the total result?
61. 361. 0.0025 plus 1. Sir, 361. 361 divided by 1.0. 361 divided by 1.0. Sir, 190 sample size.
190,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay. It will be 189.75 rounded off 190.
Yes.
So out of these 361, we have to take 190 people. Who
Yeah.
will be those 190 people? That has to be selected randomly.
Yes.
So just, are you able to see this Excel?
Yes. Yes. I am able to see, sir.
So thus type is equal to rand function. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
What it will do, it will assign a random number to every number. Okay.
Okay.
Drag it to the last. Now you see, everybody has been assigned a different random number.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to do this?
Yes, sir. I will be able to do this, sir.
Go to sort and
Sir,
filter.
in the rand function,
Ah,
suppose there is a bracket when you are writing rand is equal to rand.
hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Inside that bracket, we have to write anything or automatically it
No,
will
no,
take.
no, 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 no. You need not to write anything.
Okay.
It is not called as bracket. It is called function.
Function. Okay.
You are applying rand function. Okay. Have you done this entire?
No, sir. I have not done this. I will do it now, sir.
Should I do it again for you?
No, no, sir. No, sir. I will do it, sir.
Hmm. And drag and drop the entire formula throughout the sheet. You will see that
Uh,
everybody has been assigned a random number.
Sir, but when I'm writing, it's not coming. R&D. Can you do it, sir, again? I want to see it again, sir.
Is equal to
Yes.
RAND
Okay. Function. Okay. Okay.
function, enter.
Okay.
Then place your cursor like this and drag and drop. It will apply the formula to each and every cell.
Yes,
The
yes, sir.
same formula.
Now it's okay, sir. Now it's okay. Yes, I have done it, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Done.
Yes.
Now go to sort and filter
Okay.
and apply this sort smallest to largest.
Okay.
Expand the selection. Now see that these have been randomly arranged roll numbers.
Yes, yes. Yes.
Take the first 190 out of it. You have your random sample. Since all are randomly arranged, you can take 190 out of this.
Okay. Sir, any randomly when we are doing this, when the roll number is randomized again, that means out of all 361, anyone I can select.
No, since they are randomly arranged, you have to choose the first 190 people.
Okay.
See,
Okay.
everybody is. If you are picking again by your random, by your method, that okay, I'll pick this one, I'll pick this one. Then where is the randomization? You are using your judgment. Then at this time, na, you have to take 190 people. They are randomly arranged already.
Okay. Okay.
When you will sort it by smallest to largest, you will see that since everybody is having the random number, some might be the smaller
Yes,
one,
sir.
some might be the greater one. What will happen? It will everybody is arranged randomly. No, see after 24, 97, 328, 177, 308, and 232. Take 190. The starting 190. Okay,
Okay, sir.
these will be your random samples.
Okay.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
So this is how we do randomization in Excel. Now let's see how we'll do in SPSS. Open that file, the same old file.
Okay.
Select XLX from here. Sample data set 2.
Yeah. Sample two. Yes.
Now you have this data.
Yes, sir. I have this data.
Choose all as 0. No need for decimals. Right?
Yeah.
Go to transform.
Okay.
Select random number generators.
Random number. Yes.
Click on set active generator. What it will do, it will just activate the random number generator engine. You can choose any SPSS 12 compatible or Mersenne Twister, anyone, but here you have to select set active generator. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Now click OK. Now again go to data. Go to select cases.
Okay.
Select this random sample of cases.
Okay.
See, if you have to take in percentage, then fine. We have an exact sample size. What is the sample size?
361.
Sample
No, 190.
190.
190.
From 361 cases we have.
Okay.
Continue. Okay.
Okay.
Now what you are saying? You still have 361 people.
Yeah.
Okay. but some have been
Yes.
striked off. Some have been striked off.
Yes.
They are
Okay.
striked off means they are not included in your sample. Only those who are not striked
Okay.
off have been chosen in your sample.
Sample. Okay.
You can check it. Go to analyze. Means only those who have been chosen will be only their response will be counted. Go to descriptive
Okay.
statistics, frequencies, and roll numbers. Uh, you'll see how many have been total. How many have been calculated?
190.
190. It has excluded the rest. But the problem is that this may create a confusion. Okay.
Okay.
So what we can do, we can go through the same method, select cases, random sample of cases 190, everything. We want 190 people separately. Okay.
Okay.
Rather than the whole file, what you can do, select the second option. First, it was filter out unselected cases. So it has filtered out the less
Okay.
71 cases out of 361. Only 190 were calculated and 71 were excluded. What you can do, copy
Okay.
selected cases to a new data set. Let's say name that data set as ABC.
Okay.
Select OK. Now you'll see a new file with the name 171 with 190 people randomly selected.
Selected. Yes.
And
Yes.
every time you will do it, you will find random people being selected. You won't find the same set. Here you will see, because again it has randomized. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you have 190 people
Yeah.
randomly. So this is very easy in SPSS.
Yeah.
Clear?
Yes. Sir, in Excel also, suppose we are
Huh.
doing in Excel,
Huh.
then first 190 people we can also take.
That's what I was saying. No, you can
Okay.
take after sorting only you can take the first 190 people.
Yeah. After sorting, when the roll
Huh.
numbers will be randomized, then only we can take.
You can take the first 190
Yeah.
people. That is the rule. First you generate the random number, sort it from
Okay.
smallest to largest or largest to smallest anyway, and then take the first 190 people. In Excel.
Okay.
In SPSS, you have to do like this. Okay? And there can be any 190
Okay.
people. Every time you will repeat the process, 190 people will be randomly selected. It cannot be the case that every time the same person is selected. Any 190 people could be selected. Clear with
Okay.
this
Okay, sir.
process? This was all
Yes,
about
sir.
sampling.
Yes, sir.
This method you won't find written anywhere. I have during my practice for IBM certification, I found out
Yes,
this
sir.
formula.
Yes.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
now second agenda is data
Okay,
cleaning
sir.
and coding. So first step of data cleaning is missing the treating value, treating the missing values. What are the missing values?
There are three. It is not considered.
Missing values is like this. Suppose you have, let's say, 100 questionnaires.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
distributed to 100 people.
Okay.
It might be a case that either you uh, fail to write the response of one particular question in your value, or the respondent might have not given the response.
Okay.
Let's see how. Open this file. sample data set 3. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So I have three variables: uh, organizational trust measured by 13 items. Then I have second independent variable. Uh, this uh, privacy concern measured by items, and third variable, that is the sorry, online trust is my dependent variable. This privacy concern is the independent variable, and then this CC, cultural capital, is the independent variable measured by 8 items. So as of now I am taking only this 13 for calculation, just for illustration purpose. Okay. OT1 to OT13.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
take the case that this respondent number 4, see, this data is cleaned. Let's say this is the case, this happened, that either he has not responded, okay, on the
Yeah.
on the question number 5, either the respondent has not responded, or what happened that you were unable to enter, or you failed to, or you missed out this value. Okay,
Okay.
are you getting the
Okay.
problem?
Yes. Yes.
Are you able to understand the problem?
Yes, sir. Sir, what I understood, suppose there are 100 questions I have taken, or 30, 40 questions I have taken in my questionnaire. Sometimes I find there are two problems. Maybe when the respondent had spoke something, either
Respondent haven't,
I missed
see,
to
see,
note it
respondent has given response.
across that
Respondent,
question, any question, or sometimes the answer is available, but by mistake.
by mistake you haven't typed it. Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, that may be the second problem.
So
Yes, sir.
suppose,
It's audible, sir. Yes, sir.
hmm?
I am able to listen to you, sir.
Okay. So suppose if respondent has not responded,
Hello.
now first,
Yes, sir. It's okay, sir.
now let's take the
I'm
first
yeah.
case that you forgot to enter. But how will you know that
Yeah.
you forgot? Suppose this is the case in many cases. Let's say this one. Let's say this one.
Okay.
Let's say this one. So in a large sample size and in many questions, suppose if you have 40 questions and 100 respondent, this is I'm taking the minimum. So there will be 4,000 counts.
Yeah.
Okay. How will you identify that which one is missing? You can't identify, you can't check each cell one by
Okay.
one, na? You can't check like this, right? So you go to this analyze descriptive
Yeah.
statistics frequencies, okay? And I have taken these
Yes, sir.
uh, 13 questions. So I'm taking this. Let's, for the sake of clarity, let me delete their labels so you'll be able to identify OT1 to OT13. Yes, the label will be always there.
Sir, sir, can you just go back because the internet problem was there. I could not see it, sir.
So just for illustration purpose, I have deleted their labels so that here
Okay.
I can see as OT1 and OT13. Else I have to match that which label is for which item. Okay.
Okay.
So you have to go to descriptive statistics frequencies, and since for illustration purpose I have taken OT1 to OT13. Select all these.
Okay. Yes.
and click OK. Now see one by one. Sorry, before that you have to make one correction in the data set. There is something wrong with the data set. After 200, please select all and delete. After 200, scroll down
Okay.
to 244 and clear it. Now 199 print data set.
Okay.
Descriptive statistics, frequencies, OT1 to OT13. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Are you getting this table?
Yes, sir. I'm doing it, sir. Just 1 minute. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes.
Now you can clearly see that in OT3 one is missing.
In my case also. Yes, yes, sir. In OT3 one is missing, sir. Yeah.
See, your case could be different. You might have deleted some other values. OT4 one is missing. OT5. In your case, it might be different.
Yeah.
Have you
In my
deleted
case,
some
it is
number?
different. Sir.
Have you deleted some numbers, na?
Yeah. Randomly, I deleted some numbers, sir.
So your case might be different. My case is different.
Yes.
I am just telling you for illustration purpose. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So you need not to check the entire table. You have to check only this one, OT3, OT4, OT5, then OT8 in my case, OT9, OT11 and OT13.
Okay.
And if OT3, the moment you replace the one value, you need not to check the entire OT3 because there is only one missing case.
Yeah.
Why we need to treat this missing case? Because if this missing case is there, means 0 is there, it will have an effect on your overall mean.
Okay.
So let's say only one respondent has given a missing or response, or you have forgot to enter. It won't make a big difference. But see, if out of 199, let's say 10 have given the missing response, then it will have a great impact on your mean value.
Yes.
Mean result will be erroneous. So first step before going for data analysis is testing for these missing values.
Missing values. Yes.
Now go back to data. So what was my first missing value? OT3.
Yeah.
So I'll check in OT3. Now I'll check from the start.
Yeah.
Here is
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yes.
now this missing value is given by respondent number 76.
76. Yeah.
So if my questionnaire is arranged in a proper manner, I can revisit the questionnaire and correct this one.
Okay.
If I forgot to enter,
Okay.
what if respondent has not given the response? Then you have to go back to this respondent and say that, okay, give me this response. Is it possible?
No, sir. It's not possible for a large number of sample.
Even you cannot delete this respondent because just for one question you cannot delete.
Yes. Yes.
So what we do, we replace this missing value, and this replacement is done by taking the mean of the preceding value and the succeeding value.
Okay. Okay.
So what would be the mean of 3 and 4?
3.5.
So we cannot put here in decimal. So nearest value will be
3.
4. It's 0.5 or more than that, na?
Okay. Okay.
Replace it by 4.
Okay.
So see, previously it might have been a different value. It's not the exact value which
Yeah.
respondent has given, but what will happen that since your scale is from 1 to 5, this will prevent your deviation from the mean to a significant level.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, you have to do for the entire. Then
Missing values. Yes.
what was our second one? OT4.
That is OT4.
Since there is only one missing value in OT3, after replacing this, I won't go for further checking. I need not to go for because one have been replaced.
Here only. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Then check in OT4. This one.
Here. Yes.
Again, 4 plus 4.
It is
8.
4. It's
and the
4.
mean is 4. So like this you have to replace.
Oh, okay, sir.
This is the first thing.
Okay.
Second thing is the outliers. Do you know what an outlier is?
Yeah, which is highest deviation from the mean,
Yeah, means a very extreme value.
extreme value is.
Let's say I take a in a class I uh, check the average score of the students. Okay,
Okay.
so somebody has responded his score was 55%. Somebody is saying 56%. Somebody is saying 57, 60, 61, 62. But if somebody is saying 99, it's a very high value that will have a overall impact on the mean
Mean
value.
mean value, yes.
So you have to identify and correct those. In a
Okay.
large data set, you cannot check each and every value. Okay.
Okay.
So go to file. Now open this data set. I think you have. I have in a different folder. You might be having this data set. Download festival.sav.
Okay, just 2 minutes. Just
I'm coming in a minute. Okay. Just open
okay,
this
sir.
file. Ah.
Okay, sir.
So have you this data set opened?
No, no, sir.
Download festival.sav. In day two, you can check you are might be having this data set.
Yeah. No, sir. The data set is not available here.
Sure,
Yes, sir.
I have shared that data set.
Uh,
Please check the Google link again. For day two,
preparatory session today's recording. Okay. No, sir. In day 2, it is not available.
okay, I'm just updating it if it's not available. Just hold a minute.
Preparatory day 2.
Download festival.sav might be there.
Sir, there are one Excel file, sample dataset 2, and there are three PDF files, sample dataset. One is no sample. It is SPSS file 2, SPSS file is there, sample dataset, then sample dataset 3. Then one document, PDF document is there, syntax reference.
You have which one? Sample dataset 3?
Sample dataset 3, then sample dataset, then in Excel sample dataset 2.
Okay, let me check. Let me check when was this. Which one is which file? Sample dataset. I think the previous I have taken the sample dataset 3 for your reference. Na?
Yes.
Let me see which one is that. Sample dataset 3. I have already taken sample dataset. So is your university having the license version of SPSS 26?
University does not have, but actually I have just downloaded recently for this purpose only.
So, but after 14 days it will expire.
Yes, sir.
Then?
But I have a SPSS 20 version, sir.
Huh?
I have another software, sir. SPSS 20 version is there, which has a pirated
20.
license also. Yeah.
Never use the pirated version, your data may get compromised at any point of time.
Sir, for SPSS, what to do? Again, original software we have to use?
My means if you ask my opinion, yes. So the SPSS 22 that I am using, actually this comes very means very costly.
Okay. Sir, what is the cost of the software, sir?
See, right now they have previously SPSS was not giving this software for individual use.
Okay.
It was institutional and it used to be cost 3 lakhs per 10 licenses, 3 lakh plus GST.
Okay.
So, and now they have given it for individual use. If you have downloaded this from SPSS site, IBM site,
Yeah.
you might have got there that you have to pay if you want to use the license version $99 per month.
Okay.
So till 22 they were giving this. After that they have started giving this, but there are a few resellers who have this 22 version with them, means unused version.
Okay.
So they are selling at a very cheap cost, something 10,500 like that for lifetime.
Okay.
Hmm. So those who want, I just tell them that okay, you can buy from there. It's better. For lifetime, you'll be having access to this software.
Okay. It will not consider as pirated, sir?
No, they will give you the license code, na, to register your this license.
Okay.
If something comes with a registered code, then you have to register it with IBM, na.
Yeah.
They are giving it at so cheap cost because the reason is suppose let's say I have purchased 100 licenses from IBM
Okay.
and to sell it to some institute, because mostly software vendors sell it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
and let's say only 30 have been purchased. So 70 are lying with me, so I have no option than to sell it at cheaper cost.
Okay.
That is the thing. So if you need, you can let me know. I'll share with you the
Okay, sir.
details.
Okay, sir.
But as of now, you practice on those till 14 days. You can practice. I'm not finding why I have shared this data set. Let me check with the link.
Yeah, the link I have already opened it, sir. The first one is download festive.sav. Okay, sir. That data is available.
I have shared on 31st, na?
Yeah, sir. It's on 31st. Yes, it's on 31st, sir.
Let me check. Else I will update it and you can download it.
Okay. Various places. Okay.
There is download festival.sav. You check. Are you able to see my screen?
1 minute. No, sir.
I'm just sharing my screen. There is this data set. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, yes. Now I am able to see, sir.
There is download festival.sav.
Okay. Yeah, already download, sir. Yes.
You haven't downloaded this. It was there.
Yes, yes.
Downloaded this file.
Yes, yes. I have downloaded, sir.
Now open this.
Yes, sir. It's opening, sir.
Okay. Now go to analyze. Descriptive statistics. Explore. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Select this hygiene day one of the independent list. Just for illustration.
Okay.
Selected this.
No, sir. The SPSS is taking time to open, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it's opened, sir.
Now select this. Go to this method. Analyze. Descriptive statistics. Explore. Select hygiene. Day one. Actually, let me tell you the background of the data. This is about one event where respondents have been categorized as their genders, ticket numbers, and their hygiene level was measured on day one of the event, day two of the event, and day three of the event. So I am taking day one. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Selected. Go to plots. Nothing. Go to statistics. Are you getting this option?
Yes, sir. The option is there. Yes.
Select outliers.
Okay.
Continue.
Okay.
Okay. You will get a box plot.
It's coming, sir. It's coming, sir. Yeah, it's coming. Yeah.
Can you tell something from this box plot?
Yes, sir. The outlier is there. 858 is the main. I think. No. The maximum range is in between 850. What is this number?
Sir, see,
Six.
this 658 is
Six
also
fifty.
beyond your range. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
but not so much that it should be considered as outlier.
Yeah.
But if you see the total area, this 632,
Yeah.
it's very beyond the range, very
Yes.
much.
Yes. Yes.
This is your upper range, this is your lower
Lower
range.
range. Lower range.
And you
Yes.
can see that this is much beyond the range.
Yeah.
Suppose if it is somewhat there, then it won't be marked as outlier. SPSS will mark is that outlier by making an asterisk mark.
Okay.
So you can very clearly identify that some points may lie beyond this also, but they are
Okay.
not significant enough to be considered as outliers, such as 658.
Okay.
But this 682 is very much beyond that. Let's see how.
Yes.
Let's check the 658 and also 652. Respondent number 658. .69. Okay.
Okay.
So maximum have more of them have responded ranging from 0.01 to 2.44 or 1.82, but 3.69 is a high value, but not so high that it can have a major impact on the mean. Okay.
Okay.
But check the 631. 632, sorry. What is the value?
20.02. Yes.
It will have a very high impact
Yes. Yes.
on the mean. So this is an outlier. So now what option you have? You have to visit this respondent number 682 to correct it.
Yes.
Or it might be the case that it was 2.02, but you have mistyped it as 20.02. See, there could be two cases. Either the respondent has given 20.02 or you have miscalculated it as 20.02.
Yes.
So you can go back to this response and correct it. If not, then again the same method. Preceding and succeeding value and their mean.
Okay.
So you will calculate the mean of. See, if you can get back to the respondent or their responses, you can correct it from there. See, this mostly happens in open-ended questions. Suppose in closed-ended question, if you are giving the value 1 to 5 scale,
Okay.
so respondent cannot mark beyond 5,
Okay.
or they cannot give response beyond 1, below 1.
Okay.
But if in that case there is outlier, that is your own error. Suppose instead of let the respondent has typed 4, but you have mistyped it as 14 or 40 like that. Okay.
Okay.
So in that case, you will take the preceding value and succeeding value and substitute it. Else, go back to the respondent and check it. If the same respondent has given at least 3 outliers in 3, suppose there are 3 questions, na?
Okay.
If subsequently they have given 3 or more than that, if the same respondent is an outlier in 3 or more of your items, then you have to delete this respondent.
Okay.
You cannot correct each and every respond of the respondent. So
Okay.
either you go back to respondent number 632, do the correction from there, or take the mean of this. Your first choice should be go back to the response and correct it. Either you are replacing missing value or outliers. If not,
Okay.
then take the mean of these.
Mean of
Okay.
this. Okay. Okay.
This is how you check for the outliers.
Okay.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, open that sample data set 2 again, sample data set 3.
Okay.
Now we are done with data cleaning and coding. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So basically we check for missing values, outliers, normality, and homoscedasticity.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But the last two, sir, I think we have calculated, we have find out the missing data. Then we see the outlier. Then what is the third one, sir?
No. First you have to check for missing value,
Yes.
then outliers,
Yes.
then normality,
Okay.
and then homoscedasticity. These are the basic data cleaning and coding activities. Okay.
Okay.
Now again, oh, I closed the SPSS. Sorry. Now I'm. This is going to be the last point today.
Okay.
Just for your illustration. Sample. We'll practice it on sample dataset 2.
Okay.
.xlx.
Okay.
Now what is happening in this case? If you could see this age. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I have asked. It might be case not only age anything that I have put a open-ended question.
Okay.
Now everybody has responded their age.
Okay.
Later I realized that I want to put these ages into category. Let's say I want to see the effect of age on memory power or on the
Okay.
learning process.
Okay.
So can I so first thing is, since these are individual ages, I have to calculate for each and every individual their memory score.
Okay.
So now I have, let's say, 361 respondent. Can I do it for each and everybody?
No, we can range it, sir. We can take the age range.
So okay. So how will we take this age range?
Suppose the lowest stage and the highest stage we have to see.
Mhm.
Then after that, we should see the difference in between, and we have to segregate in between. It may be a continuous scale. On the continuous scale basis, we can take it, sir.
So suppose if I have to change all this into category, how will you do that?
Mm, uh, it will change into category, sir. But
I agree with you that you have to change it with the category. So let's see how many categories can we make. How will you see the minimum and the maximum? Will you go through each and every one and see the minimum and the maximum?
no, sir. We have to get it from analysis.
Go to descriptives, frequencies. Okay,
Okay.
take this age and in statistics select the minimum and the maximum.
Maximum. Okay. Okay.
Continue. Okay. Now you have the minimum as
20 and 48. Yes.
20 and
48.
49.
49. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Now what should be our age category? Let's say 20 to 25 is category 1.
Yes.
26 to 20, 26 to 30 is
30.
category 2.
2. Yes.
31 to, most of the people do one mistake. 20 to 25, then 25 to 30. Now let's say my age is exactly 25. Then in which category should I put myself? First one or second one?
First one, sir.
Why not second one if my age is 25 exactly?
Because that will be 1 day more. Because if it is at least 1 day more, then it will
So
come to 25.1.
see, you are not saying that if it's 1 day more, then you should go on to this category. If simply you are putting it like that, it is creating a confusion that if my age is exactly 25, in which should I put? You are not clarifying this thing. Na? If you are 25 plus 1 day or 1 month, then it's about years only. Na? You are not saying that 25.1, 25.2, or 25.3, right?
Okay. Yes.
So if you have situation like this, so make an interval 0, 20 to 25, then 26 to 30, not 25 to 30.
Okay. Okay.
Getting my point?
Yes, yes.
Most of the people I have seen doing like this. This is wrong. Suppose if my age is exactly 25, then this is creating a confusion, no? Whether I should be in category 1 or 2.
Yes, yes.
Suppose if you are sending a questionnaire or email, then you need to clarify that 25, even if you are just one day more than 25, you should go to category 2. Now, this is the
26. Yes.
criteria. So, better 26 to 30. So,
Yes.
first category is 20 to 25, 26 to 30 is second category, 31 to 35 is third category, 36 to 40 is fourth category, 41 to 45 is fifth category, and 46 to
6
50
to
is
50.
sixth category.
Yes.
We don't have more than 49, so we'll confine it to sixth category.
Yes.
Now come to this data set. Now put this as 1. How much?
Category 1.
Let me round, make the decimal value 0. This one?
This one, category 1. 1. And then category 3. Category 1.
Okay. You have 361 people.
Yeah.
Let's say if you have 10,000 people, then
Sir, if we can give here range only, then it will be better.
how will you give that range? Are you going to do it for every individual?
No, sir. Maybe
361 people you can do, but suppose if it's 10,000 people, then
yeah, difficult to do, sir. So we have to make it category from.
go to transform. Okay.
Okay.
Record into same variables. Take this age. Okay.
Sir, why record it to same variable?
Just follow this step. You'll understand why.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
Have you selected this?
Yeah, age I have selected. Yes.
Old and new values. Select this range.
Range. Okay. Okay, sir.
What was our first range?
First range is 20.
First
20
QD value 1.
1. 20 to
Range
25. 20,
22.
25. Then we can add S. Yes. Then 2. 26 to 30. Then add 2. Yes, likely. 3. 31 to 35. 34, that is 4. 36 to 40. Then 5. 41 to 45. 46 to 50.
Now see your data set.
Yeah.
Everything has been converted into corresponding codes.
Yes.
So why you are asking that record into same variable? Because we want to convert this into their corresponding this category, na?
Yes.
That's why I have taken record into same variable. If you were wanted to keep that also, means 20, 21, 23, 24, and create a new variable, then you have to go for record into different variables. Okay,
Okay.
let's take the case of this one. If you want to keep that also, again I am opening it. The original file. If I want to keep this also and I want to make their codes, then I can go for this also, record into different variable. Method will be the same. Record into different variable. Age, name the new variable. Category, label, category, putting it age category, let's say. Old and new values. Again the same thing.
Okay. Okay.
What it will do, it will create a new variable with the age. Let's say 1, 22, 25,
25. 26 to 30.
30. I'm taking only these two. Leave it.
Okay.
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 20. Change. What it will do, it will retain your
Okay.
old values and create new values also.
Okay. That means age will continue as like, and the category will be separately created.
If you
Yeah.
are using record into different variable, it
Different
will
variable.
create a new variable. If you want to change the same variable into categories, then record into same variable.
Okay.
Okay, so done for today.
Okay,
Okay,
sir. Okay, sir.
I hope it was a useful session for you to understand
Yes,
the
yes,
basic.
sir. It's very important, sir. Just, sir, kindly send it in YouTube so that I can immediately practice it today night.
Okay, okay, I'll send it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just I'm stopping recording and then